Mums and dads who fail to show up at their children's parent evening are feckless, brilliant word, and bad parents who should be fined for not supporting their kids. That's according to the head of Ofsted, Sir Michael Wilshaw. A controversial statement, but has he got a point, do you think?
Well, I have to hold my hands up because I have not been to all the parents' evenings. A, because I'm away, or B, because the school that my daughter's at they're very, very good, and they give a report every so many months. And I say to Mary, are you happy? And she says, yes, I am, and the grades are really good. And I think, OK, fine, don't need to go to the parents' evening because I know everything's good. If something's not good or they're worried about her grades, they call you. So I'm really happy about that. But I will go to parents' evening, but I don't think you can put everybody in that same bracket. I think that's a bit ridiculous. So does that make me a really feckless parent because I don't turn up to every single parents' evening?
I don't think he's talking about... I think this is repeat offenders. This is people who just don't ever communicate with the school. Yeah. They show no interest in whether their children turn up on time or whether they've got the right uniform. I think it's that, you know, repeat kind of problem. But I do think it's important to turn up to parents' night because I do think that it's a pincer movement, you know, between a school and a parent. And I think if a parent knows what the school's doing and vice versa, you can always keep kids on track. Yeah. A bit more, and it's a bit like voting. If you don't vote, you can't complain about who you get as Prime Minister. And I think if you don't turn up to parents' night and there's an issue between your child and the teacher, you're not going to see it via email.
But it's once a year that you actually see the teachers that are helping your children. Yeah. And there was one particular teacher that Louis was struggling with maths. All my kids have always struggled with maths because I struggle with maths. And I went along to see the teacher and he said he's not doing very well. And I said, you know why he's not doing very well? Because he's really scared of you. And all the other kids were scared of him as well. I said, so you just need to back off a little bit. Yeah. And also, I mean, Louis never ever told me when there was a parent evening, but I'd always find out and turn up.
But what did the teacher say when you told him that? What was his reaction?
He didn't realise that he was being as scary as he was. Yeah. I mean, he was shouting quite a lot and he just thought the kids should be cleverer than they were. Some of them were really struggling, Louis one of them. Yeah. And I think he sort of backed off and just listened to what I'd said a little bit. I didn't say it in a horrible way, I just said, you know, that they're all petrified of you.
And do you think it helped his grades and everything like that?
Yeah, he still didn't get an A star or anything. But he did better than he would have done.
But if you see the whites of their eyes, you know, it's kind of like... And I think you can also... I know there's an argument that you could say, well, all teachers are on their best behaviour, but I still think as a parent you can see, especially if when your child gets older, they sit there with you, don't they? Yes, I think you can see a dynamic between a child and a teacher, you know. So if your child sort of says, oh, Mr Scroggins doesn't like me, you can sit there and you can see, and as you say, you can sort of challenge it a bit and maybe make things better.
We kind of had that with one of my son's teachers. Now, my son was really into art, but the teacher at the time was sort of, they didn't get on, they didn't like, so went to the parents' evening, sat down, met the art teacher, I thought, right, I'm going to have this out with her, and he sat there and all the rest of it. She was as nice as pie, she was absolutely... You know, you're so good, just this, that and the other, you go, blah, 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 blah. And then she left. In the end, she was actually asked to leave because she wasn't a brilliant teacher. But that would never have come across because... And what are you supposed to do? You know, stand up and start saying, yeah,
she did.
Well, yeah. It's different when you're actually there. It's different when you're sat there and you're talking to them. They're saying to you, absolutely, yes, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're agreeing with you and they're being all lovely. And, you know, what can you do? And your child's just sat there going, you know, what about this instance? And
well, what we could do is ask a teacher. Yes. We've got one in the audience. Claire.
Yes. Hi.
Hello. Are you a teacher now, or were you a teacher?
No, I taught for 25 years, but I've retired now.
And what do you make of the whole thing of parents' evenings? Are they a waste of time, or do you think they're useful for all three parties? The parents, the child, the teacher?
Particularly useful.
OK.
They're often at a bad time of the year, at the end of the year. And what effect is that going to have on the following year for the child? Jane made a lovely point about the pincer movement. And I used to use email and Skype conversations. Okay. You've had a conversation with a parent before the child gets home. Sometimes because they've done something wrong, but sometimes because they've done something wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
And how fabulous can that be? So let's use modern technologies and move forward. Yeah. I do get the point, though, of having your child there and seeing that dynamic between the two. Yeah. But I'm with you, Yvette. If there's no problem, we didn't always go to our daughters.
And you're a teacher. That's really interesting. Thank you, Claire. That's so fascinating. And I think as well, it helps you put a face to what your child's talking about. You know, your daughter or son comes home and goes, "Oh, Mrs. So-and-so, I really don't." Actually, once you've met them, you can either figure out, do you know what, you're right, she's a Mrs. Trunchbull, and figure out a way to deal with it, or think, actually, do you know, I think they're all right. Maybe if you deal with it in this way, so you can all work together.
It doesn't just have to be critical, as you were saying about Skype. I think it's nice for the child to sit there with their parent and have the teacher say, they are doing brilliantly, well done, you know, seeing that praise and seeing the two very important parts of their life saying, you are doing very well.
It's not always for bad reasons. It can be for good.